welcome back. Right, and as we mentioned, of course, we are celebrating the 48th anniversary of the 6th of October victory. Well, talking about the 6th of October war, a lesson actually that now everyone is talking about in the whole world. It taught us many lessons. The whole world was talking about it and talking about the very well preparations, and each and every minute detail in this war actually proved to be a big success. And also, as mentioned by President El-Sisi, how the Egyptian armed forces was able to bring back self-confidence to Egyptians. Well, today we are celebrating together this important event in our history. But first, allow me to welcome our guest today, Dr. Youmn Hamaki, Professor of Economics at Shams University. Doctor, good morning.
Good morning, Nashwa. Congratulations, and congratulations for the Egyptian people, the Arab people, for the anniversary of the glory of October victory. Actually, this is a very important day for Egyptians. I remember this day quite well. You know, I was a student in university, and the feelings and the feelings of victory, and to how extent we regained, as you mentioned, our confidence, and we regained our, feelings about our country and to be patriotic regarding Egypt. This is a very important day, and actually I'm very happy to be with you talking and celebrating such a glory day.
Whenever we watch these important extracts showing the 6th of October victory, and even listening to many of the national songs, well, definitely we have many feelings inside us, even those who did not witness this event. And we were just talking right now how it is very, very important that we all have to take this chance to teach our children. And this is what was mentioned also by the president. We need to teach the new generation to give them their own dignity.
The spirit of October, the spirit of the victory of October, should be embedded for all Egyptians, like you mentioned, because, specifically for new generations, they should know what happened and, the importance of victory. As you mentioned, lessons learned from that, and to how extent, because, nowadays we are living in a world of challenges. We need to know, our history. We need to know the lessons learned, and one of the most important lessons that we have to know quite well, to be analyzed, to think about it all the time is, this conflict in the Middle East, and the conflict that actually it's still ongoing when we have the Palestinians. And you mentioned there was a speech between President El-Sisi and Mahmoud Mazen regarding, the issue of Palestinians nowadays. Egypt has contributed to a large extent to address such a conflict, and paid a lot, actually, for this case. So we need to know about it. We need to know what are the lessons learned, to how extent we can benefit from such lessons for the coming future, inshallah. So it's essential within these challenges confronting all the world to understand what we are doing, and the geographic area we are living in, full of challenges, and to how extent we have to manage our capabilities in order to address such challenges.
Well, Egypt passed through many challenges. Let's say that we can say, or we cannot mention, that any other country actually lived the challenges the Egyptians lived throughout history. And every time we proved to be strong enough to confront all our challenges, to be together, fully aware of all the challenges we have around us, and just working as one man to confront this. As mentioned by the president, the war is not over. The difference is that now, in the past, we used to know the enemy and we have to use our weapons, but now, actually, we don't know from where it comes, and sometimes
Even
it is
the
inside.
types of weapons have changed.
Definitely,
you know.
it's not a weapon anymore,
Yes,
but
yes.
something maybe stronger than this.
Yes, yes.
So if we imagine, for example, without the 6th of October victory, how life was going to be, just as we are talking about also.
I cannot think actually about how the life can be,
Yes.
you know, because it was essential, you know. Without the victory of 6th October, I couldn't think about Egypt and its position nowadays, and what we are doing, and about our dignity, how we can raise our children, how we can develop. Nowadays we are in the middle of a very challenging, you know, it is another actually victory that we are doing nowadays, the victory of development. You know, we are trying to develop our country, to address the challenges, to improve the quality of living for people, for Egyptian people. And, you know, this is actually a challenge by itself. So, you know, like you mentioned, Nashwa, that Egypt used to confront challenges from long time ago, and we have lessons learned from that, and to how extent we can build our resilience towards addressing challenges. This is very important.
So just as you mentioned, I will consider now just moving around to see all the mega projects that took place, talking about the infrastructure. We suffered a lot when it comes to the infrastructure. Let's be honest in this respect. Things changed, Egypt changed, everything around us. Definitely anyone who's moving around will be proud of all what is going on, because no one can ever believe what we reached today. And definitely this is not, it wasn't that easy. It took us a lot, and we worked hard, and we moved into different, passing from one challenge to the other, so that we can be able to confront all this and come out with all these mega projects taking place right now in Egypt.
Mega projects are quite important, Nashwa, but more important for that is how to exploit it for the benefit of people, how to generate opportunities of job for the majority of Egyptians. You know, this is the big challenge and the big question mark. You know, mega projects are essential to improve the visibility, the economic visibility of projects. If we can take examples of that, we know all that Upper Egypt is a part of Egypt that is full of resources. And these resources are not exploited yet so far. And what were the most important obstacles for that was infrastructure. Roads, bridges, you know, roads towards the ports. If you would like to have investment addressing export or concentrating on export, and there is a lot that you can do in Upper Egypt regarding resources. So from here it comes that when we have nowadays this very important, you know, infrastructure of roads that linking all Egypt with each others in a very easy way, I believe this is quite important to be reflected on the cost of production when you produce for the local market or the regional or the international market. And this is reducing to large extent the cost of transportation, which is a part of the competitiveness of the product. And from here comes the importance of mega project. Another thing which is in the occasion of the 6th October glory is about Sinai. We used to talk a lot about Sinai, and you know, without having really a project, they enable Sinai to be located with people. You know, Sinai to be located with people, it's a very important, it can be considered as national security for Egypt. We all know that. But we used to talk, you know, I was in the Shura Council for 12 years. We used to revise all the activities, the projects that have been done in Sinai, but all these projects in this period of time wasn't or weren't, you know, enough to locate Sinai with people, to attract people to go there and to live in Sinai. So nowadays, this is changing completely. Nowadays, we have, projects, very ambitious projects and very large mega projects regarding water desalination, recycling of water, and we celebrated lately the large project of recycling water to be injected into Sinai for the reclamation of more than 500,000 faddans. This is huge, and when you have 500,000 faddans to be reclaimed in Sinai, it means that people are going to go there for such economic activities. And when you have reconstruction and you have houses that are going to be built there, and hospitals, and this is society, a complete society that can attract first of all investment, and then people to go there and to have a new life in which they can have a very good opportunity of job with high salary, and this is can be very important for them for enhancing the quality of life they are living. So this is completely different compared to what we have been before, not only in the agriculture, but all types of infrastructure, including ports. We have nowadays several ports in Egypt. You have the tunnels, tying Egypt with Sinai. This is quite important, and we finished it lately. So all these mega projects are a very important start up towards linking Sinai with Egypt from one perspective, from another to attract people to go there and attract investment to go there and to exploit our resources.
I think also we can just link something that's really very important, talking about being a decision maker. And I think Egypt has always been gifted with leaders who love Egypt and able to take a decision at the right time. I can say this when it comes to the 6th of October victory. Of course, we all know how this decision was taken, and it was risky, because a decision, to be a good decision, it has to be risky, and this is normal, but to be also very good calculated. And also when we talk about President El-Sisi being a very good decision maker, able to take many decisions in different challenges and able to continue and confront and to move forward.
Yes, Egypt started to confront severe challenges from 2014, starting from addressing from economic point of view, starting from addressing subsidies, for example. This was a dilemma for all presidents that came in Egypt, untouchable dilemma. Why? Because of the repercussions, social repercussions. You have to be quite decisive, like you mentioned, but from another perspective, what are the repercussions of that? To what extent you are going to address such repercussions? This is what Egypt is trying to do nowadays, because we are still actually in the middle of having the impact of such decisions, because you are doing a lot of things on the same time. Huge spending on infrastructure, economic reform. Nowadays, we finished from the financial and monetary reform, and the more important than that, the structural reform, in which you have to address your real sectors, like as the government has mentioned, like the agriculture sector, the industrial sector, and information technology system. When we are talking nowadays, like for the agriculture nowadays, we cannot rely on the traditional source of watering, for example, taking into consideration the scarcity of water in Egypt. So we have a very ambitious plan for the coming towards 2050 regarding how to rationalize using of water, how to use technology, plans for water desalination in every places in Egypt nowadays, including Egypt. You have two important plants of water desalination that, because without that you cannot have a real life without water. Water is life for humanity. So I believe that all these mega projects cost a lot. And the big question mark is how to translate this into opportunities of job. And to do that, you have to upgrade the skills. We have to take care of the educational system. Why? Because you cannot have opportunity of job in such large projects without having skilled people. And this is quite important to as we always talk regarding the technical education, regarding having an ambitious, holistic strategy for training and recruitment. Towards what we have been talking a lot actually regarding the small projects, and to how extent we can find President Sisi had lately a meeting with the Minister of Industry and Trade regarding the industrial complex. You know, industrial complexes that are nowadays built, they should be built according to a strategy and to studies regarding, you know, the visibility of such industries, to how extent they are competitive. So we need a lot of work, Nashwa, to be done in order to translate such a mega project into opportunities of job, into really enhancing the quality of life for Egyptians, because we need to put, you know, in front of us all the time that we still have a high rate of poverty. Nowadays, the poverty is 27.9. This is very high, you know, and despite that we are exerting effort and there is improvement in the rate of poverty, but still this is a challenge. Human resource is still another challenge. The participation of women in economic activity still another challenge. Why? Because if we improve such participation, this could be reflected quite positively on our economic growth. So a lot of things need to be done, and in order to do that, we need, you know, to have the spirit of October for Egyptians, to harmonize their efforts. Because government cannot do it by itself, you know, we have to cooperate or harmonize our effort with the government, with civil society, you know, universities, businessmen and women, and so on. So without doing that, we cannot reach the result we need to reach, inshallah.
President Sisi also talked about our neighboring countries' support during the 6th of October victory. And of course, definitely this is also taken into consideration. Nowadays, we can see how Egypt back to its leading strategic position in the region, and the relations taking place between Egypt and the neighboring countries. How do you see how important it is? And definitely, as mentioned again, we are not living alone. And definitely they supported us during the 6th of October victory. And also there were many countries who supported us also during our challenges these days or recently.
Nashwa, needless to say that, you know, the Arab cooperation in 6th of October war till now is the only sign of Arab cooperation, which means that so far until now, we haven't reached, you know, as Arab countries, this type of harmonization of our efforts and sticking together towards a very important goal. And from this perspective, I would like actually to pray to God that I need, or I want to see such spirit in our economic cooperation, because till now we kept saying that we are having a free trade area among Arab countries, and you know, and when you actually try to find an indicator to measure to how extent such Arab area, free trade area is successful or no is intra-trade. So intra-trade among Arab countries doesn't exceed so far 11%. Compared with the EU countries, more than 65%. So this can tell you to how extent our Arab, integration economically is still, far away from what we would like it to be. And this is telling us to how extent, if we want the spirit of October to be applicable, that we need to exert effort as Arab countries. Arab League should actually revise their strategies and plans, trying to find opportunities and solutions, taking into consideration that nowadays the world is full of challenges, and without the gathering of the Arabs, to address such challenges, we are going to be taken pieces, by large countries, as you know. So this is a very important lesson that we have as Arabs. We have to think about it when we are celebrating the 6th of October anniversary.
Right, and also there were many messages delivered directly and indirectly that were mentioned actually during the speech. And the President also highlighted the wastewater treatment plant of Bahr al-Bar. Yes. And definitely we can all recall, and even those who did not live this, we took it in the schools, we read about it, yes, and we have seen it in TV, the massacre of the Israeli in Bahr al-Bar.
Yes, this is a very ambitious project, and this recycling project, we used to have it as a very contaminated area in which illegal economic activities are working that, and maybe can be quite attractive for illegal people and illegal activities, and maybe terrorism too. So by doing that, you are confronting all these challenges, and by recycling of water, injecting the water into Sinai, having projects for reclamation of land, increasing your production actually of either from food security, to achieve food security, or vegetables, fruits for local market or for exportation, herbs for to be used in for industrial reasons. So a lot of benefits and economic advantages from having that. More advantage and more important is the superiority of law, because as President El-Sisi mentioned in the inauguration of such important project, he mentioned that we are not actually going to allow any illegal activities, and people should be abide by the law. This is a very important message. Why? Because an economy cannot be progressed without the superiority of law. So by strengthening the importance of superiority of law, I believe this is a very important message that can be, delivered to the multinationals, to even Egyptian investors, that this is a country respecting the law and is going to enforce the superiority of law.
Right. At the end, Dr. Youmn Hamaki, Professor of Economics in Shams University, of course, all of the pleasure.
Thank you
on the show. Thank you very much. Right, and moving on to a short break, then we'll be back with more on The Breakfast Show.